Greetings, gamers. Welcome back to the Red Seal podcast, which will now forever be known as Red Seal Gaming Presents.
I feel like the echo when you presents.
I am your host, Dan. I'm here with my buddy Sal
Greetings.
and my friend Christopher.
Hello, everyone.
And we are back. We're back in business.
Yes. Hiatus, but
Hiatus.
It was just yesterday. I don't know what you're.
It's
It's just yesterday we were doing this,
when
right?
you're
Was
lost in the warp, this
yesterday
is what
was officially Halloween of 2022 was the last episode of
Yes.
the original Red Seal podcast,
That's
which is
doesn't
now
seem
Red Seal
that-
Gaming Presents.
presents.
It doesn't seem that long ago, but that's a long time.
Well, it happens, and in a long time, a lot of things can happen. It's been 2.5 years,
Mhm.
and we have moved again since the last podcast. So, I mean, I know it was a far move.
I broke my back.
Probably the biggest change, right, from last time we met. So
The biggest change, we'll start there. So the store moved only about 150 feet to the left,
But it doubled in size.
but it doubled in
Yes.
size. So we went from 1,500 square feet to a 3,000 square foot location.
ish.
Ish. We'll get to that into another show. That's something for later. We'll have a discussion. But bigger space. During the move, we had 50 to 70 people come and assist us.
community rollout. It was a community.
Community rollout.
It was wild because I showed up a little bit late that day because I had some previous engagements, and I walked into the store already bustling with people, just already kind of putting things on shelves. The move had literally already happened,
Yes.
and there was just. Like you said, 50 people just putting stuff on shelves, And it wasn't going to the right place, but at the same time, it was fine. But it was getting on the shelf.
On the shelf, yes.
And there was like zero downtime.
I was trying to direct them. I said, just, it looked like an ant colony when we first started because it was just like, well, Dan, what do you want to bring? I was just like, everything.
Piles.
Literally
piles on
everything.
the
They
floor.
I said, just bring it in there, get it over. Please don't break it. Please don't walk away with it. Just get it over to the store, and it was like board games here, card games here, GW there, and paint over here, and stuff like that. And they just brought it over. We fed them. We got them a little pizza. We got a little caffeine and soda into them, and a little bit of store credit for helping us out that day. And in about 4 hours, we got everything
It's
out of one
wild.
location into another, and then just started like micromanaging each location.
Imagine every piece of product that came from one store to the next, and it was done in 4 hours.
In 4
Like,
hours.
That's
Furniture too.
that's wild.
Yeah, I think
Absolutely
it
furniture.
took
All furniture.
longer getting the racks that you needed off the wall than actually moving the product. Because
Yes.
we had to pull down all that hardware for the others because it couldn't be on the wall,
Mhm.
and I just remember that being infinitely longer than
Yeah.
everybody
And
came out.
We actually
gross.
purchased more hardware because we needed more space because we
Yes.
had more walls. So
Yep.
we built basically half the store, right? And then we started ripping out all the old content, including cameras
Yes.
and stuff like that. So all
Shout,
that stuff.
shout out to my big boy, Big John, for helping me hang those all those racks. We up and down the ladder was
Herman Munster himself.
yeah. Thank God for your height because it was we were a tag team. We did it.
I don't think
perfect.
I've ever seen John get on a ladder.
He doesn't need
he
to.
doesn't have to.
Right? Think about
He doesn't
that.
need to.
I have never seen him even like go on a step ladder. That's actually kind of funny. So the move happened, and then obviously that's what happened with us. Store operations started to settle in.
Mhm.
We can briefly touch on our employees again, I think, maybe before we go into some things that's happened in the gaming world. We have obviously my son Aiden, who is now basically our full-on manager at the store.
Rat
His-
boy.
Scary boy. Scary man.
Rat
Sca-
boy.
Rat boy has gotten scarier than his old man, which is good because I think it keeps the system in line.
Crack the whip.
We got Lucas, who's now joined us. Hal's son has joined us full time as well, so he's adding his unique personality
You're
to the
correct,
equation.
correct.
Expertise.
Yes.
Expertise. Let's go with
Expertise?
that. Yeah, let's go expertise.
He's doing well. He's doing well.
My nephew Eric, who's been with us gooning since the beginning.
Also adding his expertise.
Flavor.
Eric is Eric.
That's a saying. Think about that. When you have a saying for you, that tells you something about your personality. When Eric is being Eric, right? Then we've also added Tyler, who was a customer with us from the very beginning, and he's our experiment. And you can say he's like my pet project. See somebody outside of the inner circle, somebody outside of the bloodline, joining us with the crew. So he's been an excellent addition so far. And then we have the not really behind the scenes, but people that are just like very important to the store operations. I think, as Chris has said before,
the place would not run as smoothly as it does without them. They help out so much. Like Way is a huge part of that. Phase is a big part of that. Community leaders. There's too many of them, kind of to name all of them, but there's a lot of people that make the ship run smoothly. It would run, but it'd be choppy waters. But because they help out so much, it's fantastic that we can have smooth sailing.
Present Company obviously is like, maybe, obviously we're going to be on the screen. You're going to be used to seeing us, but Present Company's been with me since the beginning, even before. But Phase Way and community leaders, without a doubt, have made Red Seal what it is. We have
smooth sailing.
Pointed it in a direction, and everybody's just started jumping on the boat, and the boat's been smooth sailing, as you say.
Grab an oar.
And you you've kind of space-wise, we've really somewhat settled into the space, and we're still shifting. I mean, there might be some new tables and chairs coming in the future.
Well, a little feng shui here and there.
But the actual
a long way.
But kind of how you're set up is kind of it's great. I love it's wide open. You come in the store. There's no kind of like
it feels like there's a path.
There's no labyrinth.
You should progress. Like, oh, I should go over here. There's like direction. It's like a general feel of go this way.
It's nice coming in the front door though and be able to see through the whole store, and you're not hidden nooks and crannies and dark spots. I feel like that open feng shui.
It's funny. It's open but full at the same time.
Yeah, there's a comfortable energy around 7 p.m. to through the evening. Like no matter what day it is, Friday can be incredibly intense, but there's a nice comfortable level of energy as you walk in the door. And sometimes you have some Warhammer happening on the right hand side. Then you have the card games going deep into the place. And then the din of perhaps arcade games we'll talk about in a little bit. But it's just nice to have that kind of energy in there, and that's
spoilers, Chris.
That comes
spoilers.
That comes from the community. So
and then space really generates that. You have your window treatment and be able to like see in your windows and see like
remember
look at all those people in there.
The original plan was to black out those windows. Yeah, I was worried about sun, but then
shout out to the guy that talked you out of that.
Madawan Signs.
My
buddy at Madawan Signs said he's like, I don't want to cover the windows. He goes, it's like at night when the parking lot is dark and the light that comes out of the store, it's like a beacon of gaming.
Which you're mostly open at night, really. It's that like drive by.
I mean, that's when most of the customers come too. So it's just like, he was absolutely right. Covering the windows would have been a big mistake. So also, I like the tables in the front because I like people to come in and see wargaming because it's not something they see often.
Yes, and it's so visual in its presentation.
Yeah. It's like foreign to them too. So many times they've never seen that stuff before.
Yeah, when you have two really well painted armies on a nice accoutrement on the table, it can be really adult, really fun to look at.
All right, so that's condition of the store where it's at and its new location. Hopefully we'll stay there for
stay there for 3 4 more weeks maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always time for a new store, right?
There's that empty. I
don't want to move.
Is there an empty Lowe's on like?
I don't want to.
That like perfect size.
You'll have your own personal Wendy's at that point.
All right, moving on.
Yeah, we can talk about
my own personal Wendy's. Oh my God, terrible.
We'll start with like what's changed. Like we'll do the moratorium.
You want to say goodbye to things that are moving on from us as we start talking. All right, so we'll leave the store atmosphere and come and see us and check us out, and you can see all that for yourself and witness all the upgrades. But in Memoriam, there's some games that have passed on from us.
Definitely the greatest casualty since Store 1, which we're actually sitting in right now, filming this.
We're actually probably about 3 feet behind you on that wall right there behind that curtain.
With AMG dropping X-Wing and Armada proper from their lineup of games, I think that's that was not so much a surprise, but I think there was that like we all know the history of AMG inheriting the games from FFG. Like everybody's aware of that, but I think for me personally, X-Wing being canceled was hurt the most.
It was a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, and I think that's it's probably for me. I will go to the deathbed saying this: like the X-Wing mechanic, the system of X-Wing was probably the most reliable, simple, and complex to master system that's ever been created for me for gaming. Because it was the game that made dogfighting feel like dogfighting, which is part like 50% of Star Wars is either lightsabers, ground swinging things blowing up, and then Star Wars. No disrespect to the Armada clientele and people that love Armada. That was a great game. I think it never got to its second edition, which it probably would have been happened under FFG. But losing those we saw the writing on the wall. But
yeah, and there were it was a little mismanaged at first, and then Asmodee buys FFG. FFG wants to get rid of it and puts it onto Atomic Mass Games, and it wasn't theirs. And you can see that they definitely massaged and helped MCP to get to where it is, but they didn't really do the same thing with X-Wing, unfortunately.
It doesn't feel like it was in their wheelhouse, which, I mean, you kind of get, like, you know, if you're not.
Well, if you think somebody kind of forced something on you, and then they had kind of like unfinished notes, and like they kind of just picked up where they left off, and then started to create on their own. But then there was some scuttlebutt about creative, like how much can they really just like do without like checking in with
Lucasfilm
Lucas?
seems like it's an issue of like hey, we want to do this, and then like it's 6 months getting the okay, and that like for a game company that needs to put out product, I can you understand how that's stifling and stuff. But
yeah, no, that would be.
We talked about it previously. I mean, think of The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian was the hottest show on TV when Disney Plus and it launched. Razor Crest was a shoe-in. Make this ship, and you're going to make millions of dollars. And season 2 of Mandalorian came on. The Razor Crest had been destroyed, and then the Razor Crest comes out as a mini in the game. It was definitely a dropped ball.
The passing of X-Wing and Armada, rising from the ashes of those 2 dead games, have come some other games from AMG. That being Shatterpoint and MCP.
I want to say MCP was around when obviously the first store.
I think MCP was around, but now MCP is in its 2nd edition. They got a new core book.
Correct.
They got a new core star. They got new rules. It's going really well. Shout out to Will, the community leader that does the MCP stuff for us.
That's expanded exponentially. They've come out with so many new
Will
boxes, and
Will keeps the weekly play alive for sure with the OP kits and just general play. And
so does that whole crew, honestly. Like the whole
crew's been
great.
actually even spilling over in other days. There's 2 or 3 of them that I've been seeing in like 3 times a week now.
And they have their own regular tournaments and stuff.
It will pretty much runs in probably an event every 2 months is basically what we're doing, like 6 to 8 weeks, depending on matching up with other events that they might be traveling to regionally or whatnot.
And then Shatterpoint being, I won't say it's a clone. It has many similarities into construction and like the dice system, and like it has its, but it's, I think it's far enough apart where it's, a Star Wars small skirmish kind of game where, you can mix and match you make your own lists the way you want. You could buy it out of the box and play it, or you could make your own.
And unlike Legion, that feels more like a GW kind of product, where you have this grand army with all these like clones or separatists or Imperials, you get to play the heroes. Yeah, you are playing Sabine.
Yes.
You are playing Hera. You are playing Obi-Wan Kenobi. You are playing Darth Vader. It's not just one model out of 100. It is one model out of 12, and the other 12 are also named characters as well.
Less boots on the ground. It feels more, that game, I will say about that game, when I've played it, it does feel like I am playing an episode of the Clone Wars.
Yes.
Or I'm one of the very ebb and flows of the heroes fighting at any point in the no one really dies.
We can chime in the Red Seal Gaming, Mattawa, New Jersey, Shatterpoint players bring. So,
but yeah, I think that's it's definitely the AMG wheelhouse kind of game. Whereas X-Wing and Armada, you could see this game how it plays the format it plays.
I do like how, just speaking of a little more fine tuning with Shatterpoint, I do like how they managed to bring in the lightsabers. A lot of times when you bring in a Jedi, it just blows the game up because they're just too strong. It's happened in the role playing games. They're just the Jedi are always going to win, or the Sith are always going to win. So once you're bringing in Force users, it becomes an issue, and they've actually found a way to balance it so you can have the blasters and the Force users without it like breaking the game.
Similar to dice pools and how it's constructed and stuff. So KTOF has been.
They actually just did their first like league for Red Seal Gaming, and of course KTOF won because his dice are loaded, but that's beside the point.
Heavy dice. We gotta weigh those. We gotta like put them in the salt bath, those dice, and float those guys. See how they.
Yeah, he always tends to go to these events and just happens to get some dice for his prizes. Who knows where they come from though? But they're always.
Let's not forget what they're named. I mean, he's telling you the truth. It's just like the Sith. All right, it's KFC. That's the name of his little group. It's KTOF's Filthy Casuals, as he calls
Filthy
it.
cheaters.
Exactly. That's the truth of it. It's KTOF's filthy cheater, or KTOF is a filthy cheater, and that's how he manages. Yes, that's what I agree. Come at me, bro. I'll see you in the store.
But anyway, that game is doing really well
in our store, especially from what we've heard. It's not doing great in other areas and stuff, but I feel like our community has really enjoyed it. Like you said, the holdovers, people that kind of migrated out of X-Wing or the other games have kind of found another game for them. And in Star Wars vein, I think we need more Star Wars games. That's just me.
Yes, Well,
Star Wars, other things.
Yes.
Star Wars, other things. Well, we did mention. We did mention Legion.
Well,
right?
Oh, we
no,
haven't mentioned yet, but
Yeah,
I mean,
they're reboxing. So like Legion, though not new to the store, they are going into their phase of AMG's reboxed it. They've gone the way of GW
Yeah,
now.
all new art, new boxes.
They've- the
Have they
unit
streamlined
size-
the unit sizes too? I think.
I wouldn't say streamlined it.
Yeah.
They've
They
done the
bumped it up?
GW. They've gone like, oh, it's not 5 now. Now units are like
20.
10. And like droids are like
So they want to go like the full big scale now.
The new plastic is being proposed. It's gone from soft plastic to hard plastic sprues now.
Okay.
So like they're re-engineering their plastic.
So
for those.
re-engineering and a rules update too.
Yes, I
Okay.
think there's been somewhat of it hasn't been a complete rehash, but there's definitely been things that have changed in the game that have we haven't played, but it is something that this rebranding is going to be interesting of new starter sets and kind of new direction. And this is also a game that AMG's inherited, so it's interesting that like I
They-
could see
they
more-
kept this one and not X-wing. Like,
Yes.
what was the reasoning?
and I get it's more in their wheelhouse. It's more miniatures you have to construct, put together, paint, which is very much in their wheelhouse. And I think they're doubling down on Legion.
I think we're seeing the elephant in the room again was the cost
the cost.
of the painted mini.
Yes.
They just got exponentially higher and just wasn't reasonable for them to
Remember,
do
there's
it
that fine line for small companies. So a small company wants to be able to give you a product that's just under GW's price. Like, because GW's prices, we know where it's an expensive hobby. So they know if we could just get our cost in just under GW and still make a good profit from it. And like when it reaches that threshold, they're not going to compete with 40K or as an animal. So I think there's that. We have to stay under a certain number, and it still has to be profitable. And I think those are kind of falling into that. And I think Adepticon coming up very soon. At the end of March. The rumors, a lot of announcements for new factions. There's the Gungan rumor that they're going to release Gungans as a faction. There were some other things so we'll see what new they're trying to push into that.
The day that Eric plays Legion is when the Boombas come
The
out.
Boombas come in, right?
The
Yeah.
big Boomba.
I will find a way. I will find a way to make a giant bubble, shield bubble over that entire game, and then we just pop it, and the droids move in, and we'll have a good old time.
and
But
then
yeah,
it'll end the way that it should have.
Yeah, so we'll have some Gungan gooning from my nephew for sure. So,
Yeah.
staying in the Star Wars vein,
There's
Some-
nothing else new Star Wars. I don't know what you're
there's
talking about.
something
What are you
else
talking
new
about?
has popped up since the move, and
in
in
that
the realm of cardboard,
and it's has unlimited possibilities. I'm sorry.
unlimited power.
All I have is dad jokes, so I had to try it. So, Fantasy Flight, Asmodee have launched a game called Star Wars Unlimited, which
Also
is
known as SWU.
SWU, affectionately, or amongst our SWU savages
Savages.
in the store. So the game is launched with much fanfare and much concern because FFG in the past has not been very communicative and relatable when it comes to maintaining.
Just go back and check any one of our older podcasts. We'll tell you all about Star Wars Destiny and how
Sure.
much we loved it,
Star Wars
chased it
Destiny.
across the entire state,
Yep.
and then unfortunately it fell apart.
It fell apart quick. There were reasons. Maybe production of the boxes and the dice and the
Cost of
size of
dice,
the
I heard,
boxes.
was the
we
killer.
discussed how one booster box of SWU is bigger than an entire case
Yeah.
of.
and think
I mean,
about
one booster box of Destiny, excuse me, is bigger than an entire case of SWU.
Yeah,
Yeah.
think about that from a retail perspective. An entire booster box of Destiny was a $72 price point item,
Mhm.
whereas an entire case of Star Wars Unlimited is 6 booster boxes at $120
$129
each.
MSRP. Yeah.
So you're looking at I could make $75 or I could make almost $700. It's
In less space.
in less space.
And for them, it was the dice. In the end, the dice always waylaid them in that game. But it was
Mhm.
it was that track record that so many people were writing off Star Wars Unlimited even before it came out.
They have made some inroads. They were very vocal about the game when it was first kind of presented to us. It wasn't just a gamma. It was like a hey, players, look what we're making. Here's come try to demo at Gen Con.
We demoed it at Gen Con,
Mhm.
and that was before that was a year out. They said this will be April of next year.
Next
You
year,
got
yeah.
6 months.
Mhm.
Get some hype behind it. That they did not do that for Star Wars
Yeah.
Destiny. So Destiny kind of showed up. People got excited for it, but there was no product. This
Yeah.
time they actually tried to make sure that they gave it enough time to breathe, figure out exactly how much to print. And I
Mhm.
think even though they were still underprinted, it was much better than the last time, and the reprint was much quicker.
There was a lot more transparency too. Like FFG was like really giving us step by step, like all those YouTube videos they were putting out prior, and then like just releasing the cards. Like
But yeah,
there was so many spoiled cards. Like pretty much we get the whole set spoiled before it actually releases, and then people get to talk about cards.
Very good pace of hype, and
Yes.
very good. Just like here's another little nugget. Here's another little nugget. And then when it was getting closer to time, Cascade did the little
Yeah,
what
so
was
they-
what was the name? What
It
was
was called the Roadshow. So
Roadshow, yeah.
they did the previews at Gen Con. They let a lot of people that went to Gen Con do it, but they realized that not everybody gets to go. So they set up this program where the promo decks, the printed promo decks that were at Gen Con, they started sending around the country, and certain LGSs got to put a little team together and actually teach the game. And Red Seal was one of them in Red Seal 2.
You remember how serious it was? Like no one could touch the decks.
Yes,
but
I remember.
you.
I remember the
And they had to have them
the-
all back.
was
They had to
crazy.
be intact.
the
with no cards
paperwork that I
missing.
had to fill out was kind of like the NDA we're going to talk about a couple minutes. It was very, very restrictive of what could be done with those cards, and if the cards went missing, there would be problems.
There would be consequences for sure. Well, and then speaking of other things that they did, they invited us and some other stores to PAX Unplugged to kind of have like a little powwow with GameGenic, with the FFG crew,
Just the retailers, and it was
the Legion,
pretty small.
the Legion
considering
crew,
it
and the
It was Edge. It was Game
Edge,
Genic.
Edge, yeah.
FFG was there.
was an AMG.
AMG was there.
And we had a little powwow, made to sign the NDA, but some
Some
stuff
of-
has been released,
some
like
of they've talked about.
the Twin Sons format, which is the multiplayer format. They were showing us some of that.
The mat. We saw
mat.
the 4-player mat. And
And the cases. They're
deck
basically
pods.
just kind of reiterating to us that jump to light speed is when they're really going to start focusing on Twin Sons. And it had been baked in since the beginning, but
Yeah.
this was where there was going to be enough cards in the card pool, and some cards were actually designed specifically for it to make it even a more robust format than it had been previously. I've loved Twin Sons since the beginning.
it's my favorite way. It's probably my only
the way
only
we
way
play.
I've been playing
It's the
because
way
it
we
get-
play the most. For
because we get to all play at the same time as opposed to like pairing off in twos and doing constructed. It's like it lasts like a commander game. It has the same kind of like length and feel, and it's super fun.
Yes, it has that casual element that I think a healthy game needs.
Yeah.
Because crunch time all the time gets stressful, and then you don't want to be stressed all the time. You go to an event, you go to a championship, sure, it can be stressful. It's a large event. There's a lot of pressure on you, timing, so on and so forth, and you want to win a prize and be a champ. But coming to the store once a week, you just want to have some friends, come over, shuffle some cards, have some cool experiences happening, especially when you're at the store, the general environment. You don't want to be all grouchy and cranky. You want to just enjoy. I love to do my voice acting while we play a little Salacious Crumb once in a while.
Oh, gee,
I
goodness.
will not do
I've
it.
removed
Don't-
him from my deck, so I put it that way.
Don't ping the mics.
I
by
will not
doing
do
your
it now
Salacious
because
Crumb.
my sound guy John in the back would be probably very unhappy with me if I gave you my Salacious Crumb impersonation. But you can come to the store and check it out.
We didn't give Tech John his shout out. So
Well,
when we blast his ears out, then we'll definitely
well,
bring
well,
him.
he's back there. He's behind the camera. He's literally the man
gonna
behind the
cry. He's
camera.
literally
as we
behind the
speak, and
camera.
smiling.
And he's trying not to look at us because he doesn't want us to mention him anymore.
He's
But we're just going
going
to keep talking
to
about him
cry.
until he
Talking about John. So our new guy, this enhanced production that you see, and
better
Here,
cameras, the better audio.
not that my voice needed any improvement, but John has somehow made me sound even better. And looking at this playback camera, my head's not as shiny as I thought it was. So
God,
that's
here we
good.
go.
He's staring at
His
himself. now.
Sigvald in the mirror.
Going back
Uh,
to Swoo, you always talk about it as kind of like having the switch, like being able to
Yes.
kind of switch on and
Yeah,
off.
switch
the-
on and switch off. Yes.
I really hope people try to embrace Twin Sons. It might not be for everybody at the end of the day. Maybe you only want to be that really super aggressive premier player, but
Mhm.
just think of it from the perspective of getting new players in. The only reason that the game exists is because people are playing it. So we can't beat down every single person that we see. If
Mhm.
you're teaching the game, you're not going to bring your meta deck, obviously. And the same thing is true of like, we need casual play as well as competitive play.
And we mentioned how easy it is. We find it so much easier to build
Yeah, it's so much
Twin
easier to
Sun
build
deck
a
because
deck.
those one-of cards you'll never see constructed, they find a home in Twin Suns, and they're super fun when they come out. You're like,
Yeah.
oh wow, this synergy here is exactly maybe this is what this card was for Twin Suns. You don't see it until
Especially with the fears that always arise when a game announces that it's going to have some kind of rotation. So, Jump to Light Speed will be the cutoff point when it does rotate come March. It'll be Jump to Light Speed forward, and we will lose the original 3 sets in Premiere.
Mhm.
So,
But they will be legal in
Twin Suns.
Twin Sons.
But Twin Suns is another way to continue to use those cards. I mean, there is some talk of maybe some legacy format or
I would
vintage
assume-
format
I would
eventually.
assume.
But officially at this moment, it's Premiere and Twin Suns. And the Twin Suns format will let you still play those cards that will no longer be available. But one thing that is different to Star Wars that I've noticed is that they are already reprinting cards that were in the previous sets in Jump to Lightspeed. So not every card will be abolished. Obviously, there's a lot of decks, a lot of cards that are important to deck building in general.
And drafting.
And drafting in general are still available.
Yeah, every set since the first one has had a couple of reprints at least, if not a couple more than a couple.
Yeah, so rotation will hit, and it'll hurt as it always does. But I think it's going to be a lot softer than in other games that I've seen, like Magic and so on and so forth.
I will say one thing before we move on from SWU. Their treatments, how they've made treatments in their packs. Like when I open a pack of SWU, the idea of the showcase, the hyperspace, like what you get in each pack and the potential. Like I opened the pack yesterday, and it was like a full art legendary, and then the regular legendary slot, and then I had something else in the foil slot, and I was like, wow, this pack was insane. Like for what you get. So I really enjoy their treatments and how they've put it in each pack. And
are you enjoying the new treatments? As in the ones that they added?
I haven't opened my Carbonite yet.
Booster boxes?
We might be opening Carbonite today.
I wonder if maybe that's something that you should stay tuned for.
You know what? That would be a great idea.
Who knows?
Fortunately, I have 3 booster boxes in the back for us to open in a little show.
Yep.
So, all right. So, SWU, it's doing well. There is something else that actually came out in the process.
Yes.
Another
kind of a big Disney
release. Disney property, because let's not forget Star Wars is now owned by Big D. So staying in, who knew I would be a purveyor of so many Disney products?
You're just Mr. Disney over
Mr.
here.
Disney. Didn't even realize it. It must be the D for Dan and Disney. So Lorcana also launched shortly before Star Wars did.
Yeah, since the last podcast, but shortly before, Lorcana came in like a lion.
A lion. Let's discuss. Obviously, pricing was nuts. Booster boxes were through the roof.
Yep. That Elsa showcase is still over 500. It's 500,
really?
600 bucks.
Especially because it just was printed less.
And it's still the best looking card.
So good card, printed less, so on and so forth. But then you have the hype bomb of Gen Con.
Yep.
Let's not forget the ridiculously long lines at Gen Con for the entire 4 days of the best 4 days in gaming turned into the worst 4 days of waiting on a line.
You mean the line that I stood in?
The line that you stood in that literally went through the entire inner circle into the hallway and then outside of the building.
Oh, you mean the line that I stood outside in the rain?
In the rain at the Indianapolis Convention Center is enormous.
So I got up extra early in order to stand outside in the rain. I remember a box of Lorcana. That's the game we're talking about.
So we shared a hotel room, and I don't even remember him getting up.
I remember texting him.
You and I waking up saying, "Where the hell is Chris?" And he said he was thinking about going on the line, and he did go. And we had to find him. And where was he?
I remember I texted you. Texted. He's like, "I'm outside. Like literally, I'm standing outside. I'm online, but I'm outside the building, outside in the in the elements." And I was
you walk outside, and then the entire inside, which is probably what?
It's at least a city block.
Yeah,
it feels like a half a mile.
And they didn't have product for everybody. Like there was a point where you weren't getting anything.
Well, luckily I did. Luckily I got the promo and the box and everything that I went for. But at the same time, it was an event.
Yeah. It was just nuts.
And the hype was huge. And they were in the location that the booth was in at Gen Con was against the wall. If you've ever been to Gen Con, it's a death knell if you're that close to the wall.
That's a narrow hallway between the wall and the too.
So it definitely did not help where they were for that hype. And for us, we were on a knife's edge when it came to, hey, are they going to include Star Wars properties, Marvel properties into this Disney umbrella?
Just before Star Wars came out.
Yeah,
you're right.
We were like, all right, you know what? Lorcana might be our game. We're going to get a Star Wars card game come back. And then they announced SWU.
And it's funny because we were like, oh, the hype for us wasn't really Disney. It was like,
Sorcerer Mickey
potential
versus Luke Skywalker.
Versus, and then they were like, oh, by the way, and that was the crazy thing about SWU too when it got announced. It just kind of popped up on Twitter like out of nowhere. Like, what the hell? I remember telling you guys like,
what's the chances of a Star Wars card game coming? Like,
unbelievable.
What?
Yeah. So Lorcana blows up at Gen Con. Literally blows up at Red Seal as well. Then
Ravenberger's first, foray into card games. So like we have the growing pains of.
So you have the FFG, which had a bad record, and then you have Ravensburger, which had like a 0 credit rating.
Yeah,
like,
no record.
Like they've never done anything. They were
they know how to make
building.
a puzzle.
Yeah,
they make puzzles.
Yeah. And the puzzling part was like Ravensburger got the license to make a
Yeah.
game, and they've never
make some
made
good board
CCGs
games.
before?
Well,
Some good board
I
games.
think what it came down to was they had there's basically a card game called Villainous that was theirs.
Yes,
That was
which
very popular,
Disney.
but it was still a board game. It was still a 10,000 unit board game. It wasn't meant to be anything more. It was in Targets, it's in big box stores, and somehow they parlayed that into getting the TCG license. So
Yeah,
good
I
on
don't
them.
know. Somebody pulled the string somewhere, or pitched them a line, and it worked.
Yeah.
And the game's been doing fairly well. They've had growing pains,
There's some ups and
obviously
downs.
light printing in the beginning, but with financials being well as they are, most companies do go light for their first set.
Yep, light printing followed by overprinting, followed by I think we're finally getting into the stride, like they're printing in the right amount
At the right power level as well.
and
too.
the right power level.
Yeah.
Because there was a couple of underpowered sets too. So
Yeah.
it's
But that's a tough. Listen, CCG's a tough man. They really are. They hit and miss. Magic's been let's not forget the elephant in the room. Magic's been around for 32 years, and you could probably say at least a third of the sets just didn't
they
hit.
still make duds.
They still make those.
Yeah,
So
but I also think too is we have to look at the support side of, like, when we look at FFG as like their support for the game, pre-release kits and things like they've done the right thing in supporting a game, getting hype for new sets. Whereas we've heard from players in the store and your clientele that, like, where it's lacking, people feel it. Where they
Yes,
don't have those
yes.
products for,
well, we could talk about that into hype and also talk about how Ravensburger doesn't do pre-release kits, but they are again new to this sphere. Maybe they didn't think it was that viable. In my experience, pre-release kits are great for new players. Come in, you feel the hype, you check out the box, it looks cool, it's got cool art, it's self-contained, you don't have to feel it, because all these other players coming in with a backpack with 7 decks in them and all the accoutrement and all the tokens and all the deck boxes, and you're coming into a new game and you feel like, how could I possibly compete with these people? But then at a pre-release event, it's like they all have the same kit.
Yeah,
And that's it. And
there's
you
something to be
just-
said about the onboarding process for not just Lorcana, but for every board game, every TCG.
Pre-release kits are just so vital to that, I believe.
You need to have a good entry point for somebody to come in brand new, even if it's year 27 of your card game. You need to have an entry point for everybody, because if you only have the players that you have and you lose them, you're never going to grow, and you're never going to maintain. Magic has maintained because people come, people go. There's always
I
a
believe
new
that
influx.
they grow more than they shrink. That's the bottom line with Magic. There's always going to be some drop off, some loss of interest, some just financially situation,
Change of life
change of life
situations, yeah.
situations, and you're always going to lose a customer. But I feel like Magic's got, 32 years later, they've actually perfected it, and they're growing more than they're shrinking.
That's another, just to bring up the Switch again, like that's another reason why introducing new players and not kind of gatekeeping the community behind your premier deck is important.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that new people feel comfortable to come and play.
Also,
And
more
Lorcana
fun-
does a great job at that. The Lorcana players, that whole crew, they're
Well,
really
the
good.
regulars, they're Disney fans. They're more about, most of them are more about community and just enjoying the game and coming every week, and maybe also finding new ways to play the game, new ways to engage the game. Even Lorcana recently did the Valentine's thing to try to get new players.
Yep.
In what did he call it? What was
That's
the
called
name?
Pack Rush.
Pack
Where
Rush.
You get 2 packs. Doesn't matter what packs they are. You get them. You don't even look what's inside. You smash them together. You make it like a jumpstart
So
magic
like a
almost.
jump start almost. Okay.
And you play, and as you draw your card, you get to find out what was in your pack.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that it was actually kind of funny. 2 brand new players came into the store for that event, and they actually pulled the Enchanted Diablo right
Oh
out of
my
the
God.
pack.
I
It was
remember
like
that.
super cool for them to get it. They were like,
Did
"How-
they even
do you-
know
do-
it? Did
do
they
you
even
want
know
this
what they-
back? Like, this is worth a lot of money." It's like,
Did
no,
they
no,
know
you-
what they had?
Oh yeah, they knew.
Okay. They knew what they
knew.
had. All right.
I
But-
almost.
Because as a
I-
veteran player, you're gonna be like, "Oh my
Yes.
god, I can't believe you pulled that! Oh my god!"
Yeah, you mentioned the Elsa. I almost had the D23. My wife's friend was at D23. I almost had the Mickey D23 in my hands. And what does it go for? It's still
It's ridiculous amounts
Yeah,
of money.
it
I
does-
can't even
I
speak
still-
because it's so
I
much
still
money.
think of that. They were just handing them out like candy because they just didn't know. Like, it's like, here,
Hmm.
new card game.
Yeah, and Lorcana also has the community and a buzz. So it's there was some, I guess you could say it's something, a growing pain for the store. If you don't breed that hype and give them new ways to play and engage them, they can get disappointed as well, and you can feel a little left out. And it happens sometimes. Like, we are more Star Wars focused, and I'm not usually in when the Lorcana games are played, and there could be some, like, disconnect, right? So it goes at every level, not just at the distributor level, not just at the creation level, but even as a store, engaging with players more helps grow.
Is key.
It's key. It keeps them happy. It lets them know that you care. I know some people get like a little fuzzy with the community word, and I know this like Rudy hates the word community. I get that. Whatever. It is what it is. But he's a shill. He's doing things differently online than we are. We are trying to grow a store. It's different. It's different.
Yeah.
Right?
So you got to remember too is a lot of like the games we're going to be talking about on these podcasts 9 out of 10 is games we love. They're old and new. Like it's just they fit our vibe of the games we like to play as our group and stuff. So you'll get to see more of that. Hopefully, us exploring these new and old games. But there's just the community and that's part of it. It's so important. All these games, everything we talk about, that community sense of like, new and old, and keeping the game going. And
some of the guys that did jump into Lorcana, let's not forget to mention, since we were sitting at a table.
Yeah, this beautiful table that we're sitting at. This is brand new too.
Yeah, this is brand new, and this was donated to us by some. At first, they came to the store mostly for Lorcana.
Yeah.
That crew mostly came in. It was Frank, Andrew, Rob, and Stanley. This was a table that they had within their play group, and they decided to donate it to us for this. Originally, it was a possible idea to put it into the store, but because it was something they really wanted us to care for, I thought that it would be better served.
Yeah,
with
the
us
wear and tear in the store
personally.
would be like it's
it would
tough.
Yeah,
so
it
like,
would have been tough.
you know.
Spillage and whatever, but they basically wanted it to go to gamers that would appreciate the table.
We certainly do.
And this is
It's
us appreciating
it's
it.
home base right now.
It's his
so.
home base. It's only used by us, and it's in loving hands, and we freaking love this thing.
Yes,
So
thank
thank
you,
you, gentlemen.
It has seen some Cthulhu action with the
Yeah, we
Arkham
recently played some Arkham
role-playing
Horror on
games.
it. We're gonna open some packs on it in a little bit, just Star Wars Carbonite boxes and stuff like that. So thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate the donation, and I hope we're doing it justice.
Other card games. What about Fab?
Well, it's not
Flesh and
new.
Blood?
It's not new,
It's
but
not
Flesh
new.
and Blood is still going strong, and it just like Lorcana, it's had its little ebbs and flows where it kind of peaked at a certain time, overprinted a little bit too much. Even the store, some of the play in the store kind of got a little bit more depressed. Like there wasn't as many events.
Yeah, Flesh and Blood struggles with casual play because it isn't. Listen, the system works. It's a good game. It's very intense.
It is the most intense game.
It's the most intense card
Card
game.
game.
When I play that game, after I'm done, I feel like I need a minute. Right, and that's why, because our buddy FaZe, who is he's like the store advocate.
He's
for
the
game.
F in F&B.
Yes, right. Instead of Fab, it's FaZe and Blood, right? Instead of Flesh and Blood, we could call it FaZe on and Blood. But FaZe is a big fan, big community member. He is definitely caused a resurgence in the game too.
Yeah,
He's helped.
his work got us the RTN just
Yes,
recently.
yeah,
And we
his
had-
hard work in trying to get the skirmishes going and get people to
Curating.
show up for the armories on the event, doing new player experiences. Again, just shows you put in the effort, you can get stuff out of it. It's not always a big bomb, but you can get people encouraged into it. And Flesh and Blood is a little unique in the way it plays. The system that they use, they don't do, like we talk about rotation. In Flesh and Blood, they will retire a hero as opposed to some of the cards. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's always banned and restricted, just like any other CCG. But they have this rotation where if a hero reaches a certain amount of points, it reaches legendary status and they retire it. And there was I think the spike and the dying was really related. I think Starvo was
Yeah,
a
so
real example.
Everfest came out. Starvo was the first like reprinted character, and they reprinted him incredibly strong.
Yes.
And he was gone very, very quickly.
I think it was
They
3
did
months.
it again with another ninja that just came out. He like LL'd in 3 weeks,
Well,
but
that
only
was
for
that
Blitz. Only
that
for
was Blitz, right? All right, but
So they're-
in regular, it was Starvo. I think it was 3 months.
Yeah,
He was in and out.
They're still learning, but I
Yeah.
mean, like, just it's good to see that the community's still there. That it looked like it might be on its last legs, but then it made a resurgence and it's coming
Yeah.
back. So
Yeah.
hopefully it sticks around.
Yeah, I mean, you could directly look at pricing too. You could look at TCG Player, and older sets are actually recovering as far as like the value of the cards and the boxes. Box prices are going up, which is always an indication of a healthy game that people are looking for the older stuff too, especially because of the way they do rotation. The older stuff will be valuable longer. I mean, obviously the heroes won't be, but the heroes are easy to get.
Yeah, there
Just
are
like in SWU, the leaders are easy to get.
Mm.
They're the most pivotal piece, so they're the easiest to acquire. You can get alternate arts and showcases.
But there
and
are
so on.
cards that are 6 years old that are still in regular
In regular
formation,
play for Flesh and
regular
Blood,
standard
so-
for Flesh and Blood.
So again, they found their niche and they found their players. They do tend to be more competitive. I know they have the Pit Fighter a multiplayer element, which is fun. I'm you know what? One thing I forgot to mention, they've been talking about it for a while, but it's never come like a PVE version of the game. Yeah.
Their PVE was a memory or was something that was on the burner when I was playing,
Yeah.
which has been a couple minutes,
It's been a bit, yeah,
and it's still not here. So we'll see.
Hopefully they do it because as we discussed with Twin Suns and Magic has Commander and Lorcana has the Rush and multiple ways to use your game pieces, your cards.
Yeah,
are
helps.
just
Definitely
just-
helps. Definitely
It
makes
helps. It helps the value and keep the interest up.
And that game has always felt like a D&D crew. Like I'm the ranger and you are the barbarian, you're the guardian.
Yes.
Like it
Yeah.
feels like a posse that if you could put your own spin on it and be that person, that character that you like the most, you could have a lot of
We
fun.
could all
with it.
attack your little owlbear and fight
Whoa,
against
whoa,
it.
whoa, whoa, whoa! Calm down. Watch. My son has nothing to do with this.
Well, also, a game I know nothing about, but has pervaded into your store, which is a little hard to get, was One Piece. Was a card game that came into existence, an anime property that's found its way into cards.
So, growing pains of the store. Oh, what game do you get into? Financially, it is very hard as a store owner, especially mom and pop store owner. I'm not a Walmart. I'm not a big chain. So, picking the right game, a lot of times, as the owner, it's a matter of what I have interest in. I was not I watch anime, I do. But One Piece was one that I didn't watch because when I finally heard about One Piece and I found that it has like
It was 600 episodes in.
I think it's over 1,000.
Yeah,
if I look, I think it's
crazy.
over 1,000 episodes. So just when you're looking at time constraints or whatever, you're like, well, where do I start? Do I got to start from episode 1 or whatever? There's somebody online that has a whole description of which shows you can skip, which was a fillers and whatnot. But it was a game I did not have interest in, and because I didn't have interest in, I just didn't think the store should go into it. And then One Piece exploded. It's printed by Bandai, and the game just blew up. Obviously, I should have realized that in hindsight that any show that has over 1,000 episodes is probably going to
Well,
be
I'll tell you a reason
pretty
why.
popular.
Let's defend you a little bit in
Yeah.
that they had done Digimon, and
Yes.
Digimon did not roll out well. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a great game. I actually think Digimon is one of the better games that Bandai makes with the way
Okay.
that their tug of war system with mana kind of works, or
Okay.
whatever their energy source is called.
Mhm.
I think it's actually a really cool game, but they had such a terrible time distributing
Pandemic hurt too with
it.
them.
And you actually tried to get into it, and
I had
we had shout out to
Digimon from-
Joe.
yeah.
Like he was all into like I'll run the day. Well, pick a day. Let's do this. Just couldn't get the stuff. So
yeah,
like,
and then that hurt it, and then
One Piece comes around, same company. I don't know. And
it gets you don't know. You got to be careful. I mean, talk about we didn't mention them in the dead game era. Betazoo.
or My Hero.
Oh, My Hero.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's another one. It's an anime. You think it's pretty pop? Which at the time, My Hero was hot, super hot. I mean, the manga's been around longer, but the manga has been around longer. But the anime was hot. Everybody's talking about it. I mean, they were doing the movies, and the game comes out, and we got into it. And for the first 2 sets, it was jumping, and then it just fizzled right out because they were doing the carbon copy stuff. Of just like taking the
Right
right
from
from
the
the
cell
cell,
animation,
nothing
putting
new,
on a
no
card,
new
yeah.
art, very few treatments, stuff like that. So it didn't bite. So with One Piece, I was a little nervous, and I also Swoo, Lorcana. It's like there's bound to be a miss, right?
Yeah.
Well, One Piece was not a miss, right?
And there's only so many real estates you could have in the store that you're like, all right, am I gonna card games don't take up a lot of space, but they take up capital, right? So you got to decide when and where. But
And if you're gonna play a card game, if you're gonna sell a card game, you really need to have a night for it. And
And you
also
have to have like a representative
Yeah.
for it too, like someone that knows the game in the store, and that's part of store ownership. That's rough. I try to at least have a general working knowledge of every game that launches, so I can. Somebody comes in, it's a potential customer. They need to know what's going on. You got to explain it to them, right? You're gonna sell a car, you got to know how to start the damn thing.
Mhm.
So, with One Piece, I just didn't do it because I just wasn't enticed, and it was a miss on our part. We have since started carrying it, and it's doing well.
it blows off the shelf as soon as it comes in.
And we don't get big quantities of it, but it's coming, and when it comes, it goes, and that's a good thing.
well, Bandai also has something else that's brewing.
Well, this is an example of me
Segue.
having segue. Well, this is again goes back to the store owner has an interest in this product because I know of it. It's been around since the 70s. It's Bandai is now making a card game for Gundam. Gundam is again a very popular IP. It's been around for a long time. I think Chris was we were talking about it before. How
It's basically
the Star Wars of Japan.
Yeah, if you wanted to make like an equivalence, if for everything that Star Wars here is the United States, like all the branding and all the cross promotion, that's what Gundam is for Japanese culture. Like it is literally everywhere. And just like Star Wars, there's multiple ways to enjoy it. You can enjoy the anime online, or on TV. You can enjoy the manga. You can enjoy card games. You can enjoy modeling.
Yeah.
We've all started to model.
It's really
Modeling. But
The
don't mention
Gundam-
modeling. We just started to spend money on Gundam model
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, the idea that we can clip pieces off the sprue and not have to paint them, and they just don't not have to paint them. You don't have to glue them, and they just snap together. Was
Completely foreign to me.
Japanese
I'm amazed. It's like
engineering.
witchcraft.
Yeah.
Right. It is. It's like witchcraft. I don't know how they do this.
And
No
it-
glue. Very little snipping or very little cleaning. I mean, especially if you buy the crazy God hands
So
and,
good.
and which
Yeah.
are amazing.
they it's the OG space opera. So
Mhm.
it's like that first real Japanese space opera that kind of it's got a little bit of everything. It touches it does space politics, it does star battles, you know, it has
They are the progenitor to dudes and robots fighting each other.
pretty much.
Right,
There's
so
some other smaller
Robotech,
ones. That,
BattleTech.
Yeah.
What else was there?
It is the big robot that's kind of like
I mean, you can even say like Transformers and stuff and GoBots
Easy.
and whatever, all
Easy.
kind of
Oh,
derived from
GoBots,
that.
where that came out of
GoBots.
nowhere.
I remember GoBots. Yeah.
but
But anyhow, the cards are great. The card stock, if like so,
Oh my
Way
God.
Way
Yeah.
has been championing this game for us, and it doesn't come out until like July, I think.
Yeah.
So, but Way has a couple of beta kits that he's been demoing in the store. I got to play it. I think it's fun.
Well, this Bandai early hype.
Mhm.
They did those little, kind of beta boxes. You know,
it's a beautiful construction.
I
Like
love
the whole box and the
doing
card
it, and I-
stock, and it's such packaged well.
I mean, for me personally, I love the minimalist stuff. Like even my whole computer station at home, it's all minimalist. I just like everything has a spot, right? This box is like pristine white with a little bit of hint of blue accents, and you open up the box, and the packs were in there tightly. Even the packs are like that, like white with a little blue. The back of the cards have like spot glossing on the back, as you said.
the dice slot into the box,
and
it's
everything's like perfect. Like so OCD heaven, minimalist heaven. The art is original.
Mhm.
It's all new. It's not some of it is pulled from the shows, but most of it is original art, including the treatments, the full arts, the I don't
the
know all the
chase foil is like
I don't know
insane.
the designations yet. I don't know what they're calling showcase or
Yeah.
whatnot. But Way did pull a card that was like I don't know $1,600,
Something like that.
Yeah,
Super,
there's
which,
no
how do you
no real
even
market yet.
how do
yeah,
you
but,
even
like,
justify that
it's-
because
it's-
the
it's a
game's not
hype-
even out?
It's a high price, but
It's a
still-
hype, but that's
beautiful.
what hype does, right? So
That's new
he's
in the
been playing
horizon.
it in the store. He's been doing demos. So I think he's usually over on Thursdays. He's been doing that. He
Tuesdays
keeps
and
it-
Thursdays.
Tuesdays
yeah.
and Thursdays.
Some Tuesdays, and I brought almost every Thursday.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in that, get that. And if you're interested in the game, maybe consider pre-ordering it because that really helps with the ordering for
That
us.
helps so much in every game that we have in the store.
Yeah, not just Gundam,
Pre-ordering.
but every game.
So what pre-ordering helps as a store owner is all right. Consider this a plea for help. Okay, obviously, first and foremost, any store's got to make money. It's a simple truth. Okay, but I want to do it while making the customers happy. So if you bite with the pre-order and you show that you're willing to take the chance with me to buy the game, I usually double down. So if I get 10 pre-orders for a product, I will just immediately double down and order 20.
Mhm.
This way, in case you want more or in case we get somebody else. So the more pre-orders we get, the more comfortable I feel taking the dive. So this also just goes back to why a company that does news, here it is, here's a promo, here's a sealed box. The less guesswork we have to do beforehand. I understand the risk because if they put a game out and the early play is like, oh, this game kind of stinks and whatever. So I understand the fear of that. But if you're a company like Bandai and you're confident in the game and the way it's going to play, you could put that out there like Star Wars did, like Gundam is currently doing. You can breed that confidence that the game is going to be good, at least for the first set, right? Just be confident in your first set, put it out there, let us play it, and then customers will pre-order, and then I'll double dip, and then we'll should have a healthy launch. And then when you have a healthy launch, it's up to the company to give us more content later. So speaking of more content later, the elephant in the room is
Also, before we go super far,
Yeah.
Gundam is also releasing a miniatures game next year.
that's next year.
In
That's like 2026.
That's like
2026. So
2026,
just keep
yeah.
that in mind. There's going to be, and then they're talking about a Gundam live action movie that's
Yes.
in production. So
Gundam
like,
is afoot.
so there is that. Like, there's going to be a very large tie in the next few years
People are
about the
beg-
Gundam
And
properties.
people are already begging me to carry
the card game.
Gunpla. in
Oh,
the store. They
yeah.
want me to carry the model.
If you don't think I'm making the 144 scales and we're playing the miniatures game at that scale instead of little
Imagine doing that in the
miniatures,
store on the floor, the 144
Oh,
scales.
dude,
I mean, we could
I'm-
totally do that.
I think
We'll
it's a
see.
bigger store.
my fingers crossed that the mechanic rules for that game
Can we?
for the miniatures game are good.
You know what, John? Just do me a favor. I know you're going to be editing. You're going to be watching this stuff, Johnny. So when anybody ever mentions bigger store, we got to come up with a sound with that like sounds like Dan's aggravated. Yes, or yes. I don't know about sad, but
No,
like pissed.
The
or
perfect sound is the air horn from War of the Worlds.
No, that is not.
No, please,
No,
that
John,
has to
that
be
is
it.
not the
because he
perfect
hates
sound.
that.
I hate that sound.
Because
I
he
have
hates bigger
nightmares.
store and he hates that. So when they come out of the ground, anyway.
I see Tom Cruise running, and I hear that thing going. Whoa, I hate that noise. That's up there with signs with the
Oh yeah.
clicking noise. All
All right, that's enough of that.
So
ASMR content, Chris.
the
Danger warning, Chris.
the
that's a
giant
podcast.
of them all. We mentioned WotC and we mentioned
The giant in the room.
Yes.
Magic the Gathering.
the
All right,
game.
So
The Universes Beyond is something
I
that
like
took
magic. Do you like magic? I love magic.
Universes Beyond took off
Looks like a
in
tasty
that
beverage.
in that time frame of hiatus.
So magic is now I think they introduced it before the new store.
We had
for
Walking
sure.
Dead as a small
Like secret layer, kind of like you could see how they magic is really when you look back, you can see how they had the roadmap planned and they were like pulling us along.
I mean, they're
this
working how many sets ahead, so they already knew
path.
half of that stuff
Yeah.
was already.
So
At
the-
least 2 years, I think, was the
Yeah.
last time.
So the
it's-
Walking Dead on secret layer with the little foil protection on the bottom was now an upside down triangle instead of the oval. So I was like, oh, that's curious. Why are they
Let's
using
float
that?
this idea. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. So they were like, all right, well, they like when we bring in other IPs, let's just drop a bomb and let's go team up with, Warhammer Games Workshop, 40K Commander decks. And in Commander, which is the most popular way to play Magic right now, they came up with 4 very synergistic Commander decks that play really well together.
It's great. It's like a board game in a box. Like you can keep those 4 decks as is, don't touch them, and play them against each other. And they're all very thematic,
Mhm.
and I would say pretty well balanced. I know the
Within
the
each other.
Tyranid one is a little on the underpowered
the-
side, but
It has its moments. It's like anything. If you could feel like it wants to go, it's like the little engine that could, and sometimes it pops off, but most of the time, it's
if you
like
let it
that.
get out of hand, it can get really strong.
It's
but-
like anything. I mean, it's a swarm deck, so things happen. But it does. I have it in a box with the bats that came with it. I have it with the sleeves, so and it's a great little. Just hey, you guys like 40K? You want to try some Magic? You get your chocolate and my peanut butter, and we can get 40K players into Magic, and vice versa. I know it has piqued the interest of some Magic players to
into 40K.
into 40K, so it works both ways.
I'm sure every IP has been a gateway for someone to get into. I mean, Final Fantasy that's coming up, and like how it's the hype's leapfrogged existing sets like Takir, right? Has been leapfrogged.
Oh, the hype. So the hype machine go burr. Okay, so the Magic hype machine, and we have some thoughts about why it happened, but they chronologically have Takir slated first, then going into the Final Fantasy one, and then going into the Marvel one in the Universes Beyond.
Spider-Man specific.
But the hype machine completely skipped over Tarkir, and they dropped the commander decks and the commanders for Final Fantasy before even mentioning Tarkir, which blew up the internet, blew up every podcast you could see,
And the
every
pricing.
YouTube channel.
It blew
Because
up
then the prices and
It
blew up
people's
everybody's wallets because they announced that it was going to be standardized pricing from now on for the Universes Beyond stuffs, and secondary market prices hit $700. Game's not even out till July.
Yeah, it's not coming out till the summer.
Summer. So, and again, not even mentioning Tarkir, and then 2 weeks later, oh, by the way, here's some Spider-Man
Yeah,
stuff.
full set.
Full set, full on stand, and then all Universes Beyond sets are standard legal now too. So that's just like, oh my god! And then, maybe 2 weeks ago they were like, oh, by the way, we forgot to mention that
Here's a dragon.
here's a dragon because Tarkir, which is in the scheme of probably most Magic players that come to my store that are in their 20s and 30s, Tarkir is a very popular plane.
That was the introduction to the Shockland, right? That was
the
Tarkir.
Shockland, and then
The clan
clans,
pairings, the
yeah.
clan
which
pairings
was
were very-
similar to Ravnica guilds.
Mhm.
So the clans were very popular. Dragons, I mean, everybody loves dragons.
and there's some great dragon card sets. So
Yeah, so they kind of skipped over it. So now they kind of like I think they realized what's been going on, and I've been getting inundated with like YouTube videos and whatnot. Finally, to push the Tarkir set, but I think at this point the damage has been done because we didn't mention pricing. the Universe Beyond stuff is definitely above the average pricing. So here you are slated with, maybe if you got to make some financial choices, and if Tarkir's coming first, and you are a Final Fantasy head, you might be like, oh, maybe I'll pull off a little bit on a Tarkir, which as a retail store, that could be dangerous because, we throw a large sum of money into any Magic release because even Magic releases that weren't so great, like Eighth Adrift was not terrible, but it wasn't everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
Which is
They were making too many right-hand turns.
well, it's
If
to me,
you want to go if you want to go fast, you always go left.
Yep.
If you start going right, you're going the wrong direction.
apparently we're gonna have to have a 20-minute NASCAR episode. We'll do it for Chris someday.
Then
on
there's
the
the whole
podcast.
love-hate to begin with Universes Beyond as a property in Magic as a whole. So like there's that push and ebb and flow pull of that.
I noticed some older players that maybe I hate
not-
to call them curmudgeons, but they don't like the new stuff.
I'm not
And I
gonna
get
lie.
it.
When I saw the Walking Dead stuff, I was a Walking Dead fan, and I was like, "Ooh, not my Magic. I don't want this in my Magic."
Mhm.
But
It happens, yeah.
going back to what we said about Lorcana and SWU and trying to kind of flip the switch off, you need to have more players. And just what he said before, like the 40K decks brought more players into the game that weren't playing, and vice versa for both properties.
You understand why when you look
And
at
as
it.
a store
it
that
makes sense.
carries both product lines, it was a boon. Both lines got helped by
And
this.
if you weren't a Magic guy, I was a Magic guy that kind of left off when Lord of the Rings came out. I bought Magic again for like the first time I had for in like 2 or 3 years because of
and,
Universes
Yeah,
Beyond.
Doctor Who might not be your flavor, but guess what? Comes
not
after that.
not that he needed Lord of the Rings to play or buy into it, but we know Posty,
Mhm.
Post Malone, was a big. He's a big fan of Magic, and when he heard about the One Ring, where
Had to be his.
they brought the serialized one of one in, they put it out into the universe and just randomly get it, and people were putting out bounties on it. It started at like 100,000, and it quickly escalated to
that was
over $2
crazy,
million
that-
dollars. And he winds up paying like 2.5 or 2.6 million dollars for that one card because it's serialized.
And
So that just solidified their thoughts. I mean, the Universes Beyond stuff is obviously working.
you know what that did? Magic the Gathering was on the local news.
Yes.
When's the
Yeah.
last time that the 11 o'clock news showed Magic the Gathering?
No,
it's
Since-
true.
not
Very
since the
true.
The
90s.
last time I remember was in the 90s watching the championships on SportsCenter
Mhm.
on ESPN.
I-
Think about that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was crazy, right? It was actually on ESPN. If I remember correctly, I think even I wasn't bald yet, but
You were getting
I
there.
was gonna say my shiny head was there, but my regular hairy head was on the hairy head. You might have to edit that out. That might be our first edit. Hairy head could be misconstrued by YouTube.
I will say,
Yeah.
it's a missed opportunity. If the Marvel sets don't do a one of one, the gauntlet with the Infinity Stones, and then like each stone, a one of one stone, and make the gauntlet and have it, and
Universes Beyond has endless possibilities, so you can mix all that stuff together.
yeah, but
right.
those being a serialized one of ones because there's only one.
That would be
there's
really
only
cool.
one,
If they made well again,
time
it would just
stone,
be
right?
the
There's-
alternate art versions, of course, because that's what they do. Like the One Ring is everywhere. You could get it. It's still a $50
But that
card,
would be really
despite the
cool.
fact that it was banned in some formats.
Yeah.
It's still a $50
Make
card.
them all moxes and destroy the whole economy.
Oh my, oh
And
my
they all
goodness.
colored moxes going.
You want to
to
make Rudy lose his mind?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna make Posty broke.
Oh my God, it's crazy. So I mean, Universes Beyond is doing great. Speaking of Magic, Magic also owned by WotC. WotC also just brought out a new D&D.
Hasbro's
Hasbro,
play on
WotC.
keeping the boat floating.
Keeping
let's
the- yeah.
let's go to the
Yeah,
cash cows.
now that we made all the money with WotC, we can somebody else that makes money is the D&D.
5 point. Well, D&D 1,
Yes,
which
AKA 5.5.
5.5.
we call it 5.5. So pardon
Yes.
the slip because that's what we feel like. Because it feels like 3 to 3.5 and 5 to
We've
5.
not,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
haven't played. I haven't even really delved into the player's handbook.
I just peeked at the place handbook a little bit. It
yeah.
hasn't gone too crazy yet. I was
Doesn't
waiting
s-
for all 3 because I wanted all 3 books.
It's not like a 3 to 4 change. It's still 5 in the wheelhouse, and they did say it's all backwards compatible, and like you can use your older adventures. And like we said, we had mentioned I think the thing I disliked the most was the staggered book release.
Yeah,
made it feel like
I
you
feel
don't
like
have a
it
full
loses-
game
I
for
feel
like
like it loses the hype too.
6 months. You're not playing. For me, I'm not playing the game without the other 2 books, so I feel like
But
all
the
right.
player's handbook, and then the one they held out the longest was the monster manual, which is
Yeah.
which is I think more integral
I
than
mean,
the DM's guide. To
it's-
be honest with you, you could play with player's
Absolutely.
handbook and a
it's
dungeon.
PH
and then,
monster, then DM's guide.
yes, very
for
much so.
sure, without a doubt. So, and now new box set coming. They announced that a new like beginner box set
Yes,
with like a
the essentials
with the
box,
essentials box is
which
gonna
looks
come
really
out, yeah.
cool. I'm
So,
just like one of the first times they announced a guide to the Forgotten Realms, Faerun.
yes.
So that'll be on definitely my wheelhouse looking for that. But
Well, I am. I mean, you can tell by the statue that I brought for the podcast. I am a big D&D head, and a new addition to
what
the
happened? What happened there?
new addition to the new store. I mean, I am. I mean, I sell it, so why not buy a ridiculously expensive limited edition Dungeons and Dragons Tyrant's Eye pinball machine
Oh,
to put in the store, which just got delivered Thursday, which today
3 or
filming
4 days ago.
yeah.
filming is just a couple days ago, and I still have. Wait, hold on.
Oh my
Ah.
lord.
I'm
You
getting a
don't
little.
need that anymore.
I'm getting a little carpal tunnel in my hands from playing the game so much. I gotta check that. Oh, did anybody pay my high score? Or was it?
No, I haven't played
I
yet, so
gotta
you're
check it.
fine. You're fine. Once I,
oh,
once
yeah,
I
well,
get on
we'll
that
see.
machine, though, it's
That's
going to
all
be
right.
game
You're not
over
gonna
for
get
you.
it on the first
Challenge.
go.
Accepted.
There was a gentleman in the store last night. I call him a gentleman, but that's questionable. My a Magic player named Jason came over. He's like, I don't know. I'm not really a pinball player, and we got him the account so he can create the account because it saves games. And you have like a real like RP element to it. You build characters, you level them up, you get the magic
Yeah,
items.
this isn't your dad's pinball for
No,
sure.
No,
no,
yeah.
and this
Modern pinball at its finest.
This is really modern pinball, which is what I'm trying to bring some of the younger crowd in. That it's not just silver balls and flippers. There's a lot going on here. So when they see the engagement, they see you sign in with the app, they see you leveling your character. So my friend Jason, he was checking it out, and he wanted to give it a go. I gave him I got the key, so I can open the door and give him a free play. Feel like a real big shot, right?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but yeah,
It's all downhill from here.
first one's free, right? You know, like the
first
whole
one's
first
free.
one's free, right? So he logs in, but promptly beats my high score while saying that he really doesn't really know pinball. So I think he's a bit of a ringer. I think
Gonna
he's-
say,
Hustler.
did he bet you any money before he did this?
no, he
or
didn't. But I think I don't know, unless maybe he showed his hand a little earlier. I
Free
don't know.
pack of magic?
It was
maybe,
it
or
was
something?
kind of like oh, how did that happen? You ever watch Mama's Boy? Grandma's Boy,
yeah.
Grandma's Boy, and
Grandma's
they do the DDR machine. He's
Oh,
like, oh,
yeah.
what is that? I never heard of this game, and he just
Just
busts out.
destroys
He
him.
just
That's
completely,
great.
and he's like
Great movie.
sweating. He's like, oh, what is that high score? Oh my
Great
god,
movie.
yeah, fantastic movie for a gamer. So, but yeah, the D&D machine's in the store. Just something else to check out.
Come down and play. It's going to be on the store locator. You could actually go
Yes.
to Stern's website and like, hey, I want to play this particular rig or
And that
cabinet.
was one of the excuses I used to get the pinball in the store and justify the expenditure. Was like, oh, we could possibly bring
It'll get new eyes in the
new
store.
eyes in the store if they see D&D and they come to the store and they're like, oh, it's a D&D pinball machine. Oh, you also sell D&D. Also, oh, you also sell Magic that has D&D cards.
Yeah,
And oh,
it's right next to the
it's right-
D&D products. I mean, you
Yes.
can't place it any better. So
Yes. So that's what's going on with Magic D&D.
the last bracket would be, I would say, Games
All
Workshop.
the plastic stuff.
We left Games Workshop for last because
Because
of
of
their
the-
rotation of
Mhm.
every 3 years, new additions, and like what's going to fall in those slots. I think that's
Yeah, we've almost been on hiatus for an entire edition of 40K.
pretty much.
Yes.
Me personally,
I didn't.
I haven't played since 7th because I didn't do 8th.
Mhm.
We're going from what was it, 9th
Yeah.
to 10th, and
10th.
we're on the cusp of 11th
Of
next
11th.
year.
Yeah. I played 9th. I have not played in 10th at all because I've been leaning more towards Sigmar this time around for sure.
Yes, which Sigmar went from 3rd edition
Yeah.
to 4th edition.
Yeah, but GW has another new edition now. I think they have almost all the books out for this edition as we speak in 40K.
Yeah, there's a handful left, but they're
Are they
They-
scheduled
they-
to be out before the rotation?
it's
or we
hard.
don't know.
They're weird. Like sometimes they like rush a few out, and then
Mhm.
you get this weird like
Lull.
pause, and other games come out, and you're like once again,
Yeah.
GW releases something every week, so like
Yes,
it's
is.
that
Trust me,
slotting
you know,
of
the only time we get a break is around Christmas
Yeah.
when the British take off for like a month.
40K is notorious for releasing right at the end. Like World Eaters released right at the end of 9th, and people got to play with that for like less than a month, and then the new edition came out, and the book
Mhm.
became defunct. 4th edition, we played 3rd edition AOS a lot, and we had a good 6 months worth of everybody having their codexes or army books
Mm.
to play that edition. So 4th edition, I think the biggest thing they've done is give us Spearhead. Spearhead's the onboarding ramping game. Just buy your Spearhead, build it. It goes right to the table. It's on a very
probably
small.
the smartest thing they've done in a long time.
Yes.
Like
I think
onboarding. Because we're
Spearhead
talking
is-
about onboarding.
Spearhead is back engineering Combat Patrol because Combat Patrol doesn't work. The boxes internal balance on Combat
They were
Patrol
so unbalanced.
are
people
not.
were
They,
having
they
fun.
were
yeah.
start collecting boxes that you could play with, not Spearheads with a rule set based around it. So
Yeah.
I think you're going to see 40K is going to start putting out new Combat Patrols that fit a new Combat Patrol system that'll come out with 11th.
Yeah, and
But
then
Spearhead's been great.
what Spearhead brings is Age of Sigmar light, It really is the core rule
Yes.
system is there.
That's where Warcry, they was supposed to be the onboarding for Sigmar, but it was its own rule set. So that gave it a weird, like, I'm not really learning AOS. Like when you play Spearhead, you are learning the core AOS rules minus like 2 modules, they call them.
Mhm.
And you get, so by adding those 2 modules, oh, now I'm playing a full game of AOS.
Yeah.
So it's a probably one of the best onboardings for a GW game in maybe ever.
And
So
a really good price point too. So like
Yes.
you can get in
Yeah, for a miniature for GW.
for a GW game where you're, you know, an army could be $400, $500, $600. You can get in and play a full-fledged AOS light game for $120, $140.
Yeah,
If
and
you
even
could
more so if you buy the two. If you split with a buddy, you buy the starter set. It's even
Yeah, well,
less than that,
Skaven
and then you
tie-
get all the books as
Yeah,
well.
Skaven Tie gives you all the books,
Yeah.
2 complete spearheads, and
Yeah.
all the rules to play both the spearhead
and
and,
some-
regular.
Yeah, and more minis than just the spearhead.
Yeah, you
too.
can expand into a regular
Mhm.
army. Yeah, they those are definitely built like that. And then spearheads, if you can control yourself, you wind up buying more than one spearhead anyway
Well,
because you're usually a
well,
GW player.
Case in point,
But like you could just buy a spearhead and,
The-
and that's your
when we
joint.
decided to do the demo, and we figured we get 6 people, 12 people, whatever, and we do the demo, and then 30.
3 signed
2,
up, less
31.
came, but still, I remember building. We had my hand still hurt from building all those.
I had your
spearheads.
son building models, and he said he swore he would. What was it? The witch elves? Or
Oh, the Daughters of Cain were
the daughters of
Daughters
Cain.
of Cain.
Your poor Lucas was building the
I
daughters
love
of Cain, and he
Slanesh.
said to
Everybody
me,
knows I love Slanesh.
he goes, "Don't
and
ever let me put. I don't ever
the
want to
Hedon
build
Knights
another."
box
Yeah,
was the hardest box I've ever built in my history of building miniatures. But yeah, but so Spearhead's really been like something we love. It's probably it's the next step for us. Like we're really slow players, so to get to the first 1,000-point battles for us is like we're getting there. But like, hopefully we get it in before. With AOS, we'll get it in before a new edition. But like, we're slow players. If you're a slow player with these 3-year cycles, it's
we're
like
slow players, and we're all basically running a business together.
That's not slow players, but also just we our time is divided.
Divided,
So we're,
yeah.
we're not slow at the game. We're slow to get back to the game.
Wait,
or
and
get
we're
to
slow
start the game.
and we're slow to get to the top of like
We're
where you're
kids in a
supposed to be playing.
and we're kids in a candy store.
Yeah.
Right. Everything that comes in, we have firsthand look at it. We have previews of it. When it comes out, we don't have to worry about allocations. If there's 5, we're getting 1.
Yeah, it's
If
more
there's 12, we're getting 1. You know?
times more
So-
more of that commodity
Yeah,
because
and then
I'd
there's a
rather
million games that come out that we
instead
all
of
want to
a
play.
3-hour, 4-hour, 2,000-point end of anything game, I'd rather play 3 Spearhead games
And
against 3 different opponents in
That's
one
what's
night.
great about Spearhead. Anthony, Lorcana player, plays 40K, plays Spearhead, plays AOS. Him and his buddy came in and they played 3 games of Spearhead that day.
That day.
Yeah.
Instead of playing 1 game of 40K, they got to play 3 different armies each, and they got to have this really cool day where they got to try everything.
Yes. And it's a great way to see different, like, that's how you rotate the armies. Like, do I like this play style? Normally you have to invest into a lot of time and money into an army. And then you get there and you're like, oh, wow, this is a castle army. They sit back and just absorb, and it's attrition. I wanted this. So with Spearhead, you get to, like, for a lower price point, see, like, oh, I love this play style, or I don't like this play
And
style.
Case in point, the price point. So as a store, we built, I don't know how many spearheads. How many did we have?
We had one of each Spearhead represented. So we had
at
all
least
of
at
them.
least one of each
At-
spearhead
yeah.
represented. We built all that. Now, if these were 2,000-point armies, that cost would just not be
No,
worth it.
you couldn't put that on
The
the team. Even
time,
1,000 points, honestly,
Yeah.
even 1,000 points, you're buying other
The
kits. that would've-
expenditure would not be. I don't think it would be worth it, right? Especially if you're onboarding, because it's also hard to onboard at a larger scale. People are like, oh, how much did this cost? Oh, this is $500 worth of minis. Oh,
Oh,
And
this is a fun day, but thank you. I'm not going to buy
Yeah,
any more.
Yeah,
and a
that's
lot
a
of
turn-off.
rules, a
But-
lot of like,
oh, how much does this cost? Oh, it's like $140.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. That's not bad, you know. And then we were even selling the ones that we pre-built because we didn't need them all.
Well, then there was the
And-
case with the guy and his son were there. And
That
they
was
were
really cool.
playing. And
That
then
was really
you did a raffle where they won a box, so they ended up
Yeah.
buying like 3 different spearheads that day
No.
because they really enjoyed it. They had a
Mhm.
good time. They
Yeah.
bought 2. They won another one. They walked out happy as clams.
And that hit me hard too because as a dad, which I'm a father of 3 children, and he came to me and he's like, thank you for doing this, because my son was trying to get me into it, and I really wasn't hitting me. But here it is. We came in, we spent a day together, 4 hours. I had fun. You got me into it. They were at the register buying
when they won, yeah.
a spearhead, and the son bought the Monument Hobbies
Yep, the painting
things,
box, yeah.
and he bought that, and then we were doing a raffle as you're at the register, and I'm like, oh, do you want me to give you the spearhead you just bought for free?
No, we'll just take another one.
The dad was like, no, we were gonna buy 2 anyway, and we weren't sure, so he went run into the wall and grabbed the free run off the wall and came back, and he was so happy. So stuff like that is awesome.
GW also launched the Old World. Finally came to light and became a full-fledged system, and they're pretty much almost on the end arc of all the original armies that they said they were going to release. They're on the last two. I think High Elves, Wood Elves are coming, and Beastmen are the last like announced.
Of the announced ones. Yeah.
And now there's the rumor that Cathay, an Asian fantasy thematic army, is the first new army they're probably going to release. Like they put up a thumbnail, which was like the artwork on the back of the old
they like to be all mysterious.
Total War game,
Mhm.
and everyone's like, "Dude, that's Cathay. How we're not that stupid." Like you could tell right away. People like ripped that apart. But that would be interesting because that's the first new army for that old system that they're going to release. So it's going to be every miniature is going to be a brand new sculpt. There's no old Cathay miniatures. So that's really interesting to see where that goes. We have a pretty decent squad in the store.
There's about a dozen right now that are into it.
Yes.
I mean, even there's still my dwarven heart is still beating strong.
I mean,
still,
they're there.
I'm tempted once in a while to get out there with
they
them.
are there. So that's interesting to see that game's kind of it's going to go into its second phase very soon. So they're going to revamp some of the rules. I know I talked to guys.
It's definitely not booming. It's definitely niche, but it's still there.
Yeah,
It's like Horus Heresy in that respect.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
It caters to someone that wants to play that style of game, and it's there. Also, Kill Team wound up going through its own new edition,
Which has done well. Thank you to David, who actually has its own night at the store now. That's how
correct. People
and
voted for it.
That means people are playing if we give it a night at the store.
Yes, and it's once again, it's a small scale. It's the 40K itch. It's its own rule set, so it's not an onboarding game to 40K proper. But once again, it's quick. It's set 4 rounds, and it's.
I like this. Those are the kind of games like Spearhead, Kill Team. That small footprint makes it easier for not just my store, but any store. Because, I mean, you see the table that we're at right now. This is like the normal size for an average size game of any kind of Warhammer or tabletop minis. Kill Team, you could put 2 Kill Team games at this table.
Yeah. And it's small footprint.
And you don't even need the traditional wargaming table. It is like, because it has the board pieces and it has the terrain. You can put that
It's a dining room table game. At that
Yeah,
point.
that's they've kind of their new going from the 6x4 to 66 by 60 by 44. They've tried to shrink it so you can get it on your dining room
entry
tables.
point again, like what we were talking about with the card games, pre-release entry point, small point.
GW is not notorious for not doing that, and they've been gotten a lot better. And even Necromunda has gone into its kind of second iteration. They've actually left the Hive Primus, and they've gone to a secondary Hive, and their miniature line is just like so interesting because they release like flavorful characters. It's almost like they're secretly creating a role-playing game because like they have such unique characters,
which they don't do often. That's like the whole team is unique.
Yeah, and then like they've come up with special characters like the Master of Water, and I'm like, what does that guy do in game? It's almost like there's always that rumor that they're crafting an RPG that they're going to use all these miniatures for because it's very unique special characters. But once again, they've kind of new edition. They've gone to another Hive. There's Gene Steals in the Hive, so they've definitely rethought of their game. Rumors Warcry is supposed to be getting a new edition this year. Who knows what they're going to do with that? Is that going to be more? They're going to make the rumors they're going to make a Mordheim.
Oh my god!
You know
system.
when I bet you're going to find that out? Adepticon.
Right. I would love. I mean, we did play Necromunda.
Imagine if Red Seal Gaming had people going to Adepticon. I don't know about that.
I know like 1 or 2 guys that might.
They might. We might get some eyes on some new products.
So,
speaking of new products too, in that time since 22, GW released contrast paints, which have made painting way more easier for the old and feeble.
Chris swears by it.
It's the only paint I'll use. Other than I will tell you, the metallics. You need the old metallics. They're still great, but the contrast paint is so quick, so easy, and it makes a relatively good looking model with very little skill. Like I'm a paint by numbers kind of guy. Like that skin is going to be this color, that hair is going to be this color, that scale is going to be this color, and the contrast paint's delightful for it and super quick.
They do it well. And then you were able to bring into a new paint line.
Well, I was a little nervous about doing so, but we brought in because I was like another paint line would compete with the main paint line, and is it really just going to take up more space and make the same income, whatever? But they are working well together. We got in Monument Hobbies makes Pro Acryl. Or Pro Acryl. I always say Pro Acryl, but some people say Pro Acryl. Very super matte paints. Yeah. A lot of
very high in paint. Their pigments
a lot of
are
pigments.
Like insane.
Yeah, it's just like super rich. And they are working really well in combination with the GW paint line. So at first I thought it was going to be a mistake. I didn't know, but we went deep. We were also one of the few stores around here that has it. So a lot of the other stores had Army Painter that's been around for a while. Vallejo has been around for a while. I like to do something a little different, and bringing in this paint
line. And they're
not
low. You really can't find them everywhere. So having
they're a U.S. company. They are in Arizona. which is great.
Yeah, they
So
stream on
they-
Twitch and
They
YouTube
do stream.
all the time. Which
They're
you get to
very
see
They have a very active Discord. They do how to paint, how to use, how to mix, how to blend. They have basing stuff. They have primers. They've recently come out with a whole spray primer line now too.
Oh, their matte varnish is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Not really. I used it on some of the Skaven Tide models we used for the Spearhead demo, and I was like, "Whoa, this stuff's awesome!" So yeah, they definitely have a quality product, and it fits its own niche in the painting community and, stuff.
It fit perfectly in the new store.
Yeah.
A little paint section and
It's
then
over
the
by that
D&D
D&D
section.
pinball.
And right by the D&D pinball game. So if
getting
you
over
go by the paint, you're probably going to see me because I'm
Yeah.
going to be on a D&D machine. So.
But yeah, I think that's
Oh,
a pretty. What do you think?
Wait, there's
something
one
else?
more thing I forgot. I almost
But
forgot
wait.
to mention.
There's more.
There's more. I forgot. So we were talking about painting and something new again going into carrying over from the spearhead element. We wanted to do like learn to paint session.
Yes,
Now
with some of the
people-
old world guys, right?
Some
like,
of the old world guys
Eric.
are very good painters. Eric, Nick, and Jack are. I'm actually we've been discussing.
Yes,
having
there are the old world crew too. They're very.
they're
avid
mostly the old
players.
world crew, but they are veteran tabletop players. Mostly Warhammer to boot, and very similar interest to D&D and minis, and they are also three of the best painters that I know of in the store.
They're going to do in store.
They want to do they're going to do in store. So we did learn to plays. Let's do like learn to build with some learn to paints. And Games
Cool.
Workshop was kind enough to donate me like a whole box
Oh,
of
you
like
got little sprue.
kind of like the ones you see at the con all the
Yep.
time. They give you like a little Stormcast or
They
whatever.
always- people wait online forever for those.
Yeah,
paint
so
and
we
bring
got
home.
like 50 of them. So we're gonna do like a free event. You come in, and these three guys are gonna just sit down, and they actually came out with a I think it was mostly Jack that came out with the scheme. He gave me two like Red Seal Gaming themed
Oh yes, the paint,
paint schemes. So
Very
one was like
similar
red,
too.
they're all red, black, and white.
Mhm.
He asked me which one we preferred. I was leaning towards the white one. So we were probably gonna go with that. But we're gonna have again, demos, sessions.
Keep
all
an
these
eye on the
things.
Discord. I'm sure it'll be announced there.
Oh, of course. So
But yeah,
that's what's been going on. I think that sums it up.
I mean, I'm sure there's like board games that we missed and some other smaller release windows.
We'd be
I
here
mean,
for hours and
yeah,
hours and hours.
Bolt action.
We've already been here long enough.
Yeah, I
mean,
think
like,
it's just over an hour.
Bolt
already.
Action's you've got new release for that, so we'll do
That's
more
why we had
focused
Bolt
things.
Action in the store. I'm gonna mention something. I just realized we didn't have this in the show notes, but I have to mention it because I've been giving them so much crap since they've been coming to the store.
Oh, I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going?
Yep.
And because we did mention Gundam.
Is it new? It was well because it wasn't new.
It wasn't
not in the show notes.
It's not new because they
Talking
helped me
about the
create a
number
night.
2 sales.
Well, it's called Dead Game Thursday. Okay, and there's a bunch of boys, and they've been begging me to carry the product.
Let's see if they get all the way to the end of the podcast. If
Well,
they watch all the way here,
You know what? If they well, here's a cookie. If they stayed through the whole hour or so of this podcast, that the BattleTech players
Mhm.
have grown a community in the store, despite the fact that it's nigh impossible sometimes for me to get.
But the thing is, not that it's
product.
dead. It's the number 2 sales in
Well, that's
America.
what was driving
But
me crazy.
the problem is you getting
I
it is
can't
a
get it.
problem, and so
Well,
that
because
doesn't help.
Catalysts, if you hear me, and I know
Hurts.
they probably have, because there's supposedly there's rumors and hearsay about a retailer site where
direct
I
distribution.
direct to distribution. So if I can get hands on it, I will put it in the store. And I know these BattleTech players because whenever I do get product, they've promised they would buy it, and they bought every single item.
It's
I've
not
ever
on the
put
shelf because it's kind of
So I have to give them a little bit of a shout out. So even though it's a dead game, stats might say otherwise because according to sales, I think it was
was number two
two.
at-
ICV2 had it way up there at number
And like
two.
number two in the world.
40K, which
Yeah.
is the monster.
So if you're right below the monster,
well, they also says the spacing between number 1 and number 2 might
Is-
be an
isn't-
ocean,
Okay.
in space, but still,
it's still
in
ahead of-
overall sales, it's,
it's
number
ahead of
it's
so many other things
It's a lot. So yeah,
that
so
have been around. So I have to give them a little credit. So.
but yeah, so we'll once again, there's other things that we probably missed, but those are things that we will maybe do more of a spotlight focus on
Well-
as the.
Well,
as
this
these more
won't be
quick-
the
No,
last show.
It's a long one because we
Right.
had to come back. There's a lot
Yeah.
to talk about, but
Yeah, so
what would be
we'll do more shows.
what would be your guys since 2022? What is 1 or 2 favorite things that we talked about that you've enjoyed the most?
Easy for me. It's always SWU. That game was great. I loved Star Wars Destiny. It was the first game that I actively collected every single thing I possibly could, and this is just a better version of Star Wars Destiny for me. Star Wars Destiny without dice, I love it.
I have to agree. I mean, SWU for me, I'm just not good at card games. So like my brain working in Twin Suns is aneurysm level of end game. If you haven't played, you'll know why.
You do.
Um,
You can
but
have.
for-
I have blue screens.
Yeah,
Playing.
For me, it's been
playing Twin
for
Suns,
me
but-
it's
which I like.
for me it's Spearhead. I thrive in miniature games, and the onboarding for that is like been so easy turnaround. I mean, and it's just playing a game of Spearhead gets me pumped for the bigger games, whereas like a bigger game doesn't. The logical step for me has been so Spearhead, but Sue definitely 1 and 2. They're right there for this hiatus period.
Yeah, for a hiatus period for me, it's hard as the owner of the store and watching the community grow and basically buying into what I'm selling, and that's you can come to the store, you don't have to pay to play, you can sit down, you can have fun, and if you support the store will support you, and people are 1,000% buying into it. We have Magic community, we have a Star Wars community. Star Wars community can even break down into card games and miniature games, and then we have role players that come in and they sit at the table and they just sit down and role play and they just thank us.
GW, everything. You got
Games
GW.
Workshop, we have 6 tables now. We have 6 big tables like this to come in and play. And 9 times, there's no fee. There's no fee. Just support the store. If you support the store, I can throw it back at the store. So, as far as things that I liked, I mean, there are a bunch of games that have come out. I can only just put it on a personal level to a decision that I made and the process of Star Wars from playtesting and getting some information and learning the game and so on and so forth, and then taking the dive and hitting on it as me steering the ship, and the ship went the right way, and then Asmodee and Fancy Flight also helping us steer it the right way, and then recognizing that we did it the right way and dove in as big as we. I mean, we went
and sold a lot of swoo. You know?
I mean, we went so large on the set one that the reps were like, "Are you sure that you want to buy that much?" Which I thought was funny. You sure you want to buy that much? You really got that many people buying? And I says, "Yeah." I says, "I think it'll do well." And then the first week it was going, but it wasn't going the way I thought it was going to go. And I started getting nervous. I'm like, "Oh my god, what have I done?" And then in the third week, we had people driving from states. I had people calling me from Pennsylvania. And I hear you have it. Can I come and get it? Can you please put it on the side and whatever? So that was a bit of a moment of pride for me that we hit with that.
Being recognized, like we're walking around Toy Fair in Jacob Javits in New York, and people are like, "Oh, Red Seal Gaming, you guys sell this."
Corey,
the Lorcana guys, and the
Lorcana
guys both were like, "Oh,
they knew the
know
store."
that store.
And Corey, we met Corey at, I spoke at him a lot, and then we met him at the PAX Unplugged again, and he recognized me.
Before you recognized
that
him,
shiny head, right? Maybe it's that shiny head. I don't know. He recognized me before I recognized him because Corey was actually all suited up because he's actually in a larger, I guess, a better position for him now. So, congrats, Corey, by the way, if you're watching. But yeah, so that for me was that decision and seeing it go the right way, seeing the store grow. I mean, every time the store gets bigger, we must be doing something right. Right. And there are drawbacks there. We lose customers. I hate when that happens. I really wish that they would communicate with me before they decide to move on from us. But what happens? Real life gets in the way. 9 times out of 10, I still feel like it's maybe an outside source that puts them in a state of mind that
ebb and flow. Everything's ebb and flow.
Yeah.
Embrace the ebb and flow.
Yeah. So, but you're always welcome back, right? We could come. We can discuss. Communication is key. The Lorcana players have recently discovered that I am more than welcoming to new discussions about new ways to play the game and ways to make the experience better for them. If you're watching this, any community that we have at the store has input. I am open to it. I am not. Despite everybody tells me that I'm Palpatine in disguise here. I am not. I am open to discussion. I am open to changing things to make it better for all of us. Not just me and not just for the guys here, but for every community. I'm not always around. I mean, I do have a family that I engage with heavily. And Wednesday nights, the Lorcana guys were, I guess, missing me a little bit too. So I will definitely make an effort to maybe make sure I'm paying attention to every community as much as possible. I get it. I'm the big, bald head of the store. And people just like
it is your store after all.
Yeah, yes. So I get it. So I will definitely, things I learned. So we will definitely be around more.
Cool. What would be your closing question to?
For me, if I had to ask the people, so here we are, we're a podcast, and we're coming up with ideas for shows and stuff like that. I would like to know what people would like us to do. Well, maybe show ideas, like basically, hey, help us out.
Or even topics, just topics you want to see on this show.
Yeah, or or maybe a new topic or a new format. We're going today. Actually, matter of fact, when we're done with this, we're going to do a box opening. We're each going to grab a carbonite box and crack it open and just have a little 20-minute. Watch me freak out when I finally
When
pull
you
a
finally get a
showcase. Which or
we
better yet,
shall see.
it's not going to happen. I'm telling you right now. I'm calling it.
We
You're going to
shall
get one.
see.
You're going to get one, and I'm not.
Piet, come to me.
That's what's
Piet.
going to happen.
But we're gonna do some playthroughs. We're gonna do some old games, some new games.
Yeah.
We're gonna do some box
Gonna
openings.
watch
but
old guys go to their library of things that they.
Well,
like to
yeah, and then to tie into like we'll do like a box opening, say what's in it, and then that'll be a nice little short, and then we could do that box that we just opened. Well, guess what? We read the instructions, and this is us playing it, and then to entice it, make it a little more exciting, we'll give that one away, that one that we opened.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
But yeah,
watch us, and you'll see stuff, and maybe win some free stuff too.
any ideas you might have, throw them at us. Maybe they happen. You never know.
Yeah, leave them in the comments below.
And well, the more you throw at us, the more chance you get to maybe be mentioned in the podcast or be included in the podcast. Oh, we're talking about player interviews.
Yeah.
Right. That's something else we want to do. Like meet RSG. Right. Meet the players. Maybe start with the Discord supporters, people that have been helping us by supporting us on the Discord. We'll get them in there first. Maybe a quick little player profile. We can throw you on get you on the podcast, make you feel famous.
Cool.
Right. Not that maybe
Let's
more
do
than
it.
100 people are watching it right now, but you never know. It'll be fun. It'll be exciting. So in closing, there's one thing that is not going to change for me, and that's what I always say, because it's what has kept me happy all these years, is that you never stop gaming. So thank you for joining us. Chris, would you like to say a little goodbye before?
I'm gonna keep it casual.
Keep it casual.
Fly
Ooh.
casual.
Keep
Fly
rolling.
That's an old rest in peace to Star Wars.
That hurt.
Sal,
Keep rolling dice, maybe.
keep rolling dice.
Need them crits.
We'll talk to you soon. Peace out.